since you've been in the league, you've been as good as anybody as you've seen. Let's dive in.
Bring the first board up. I mean, how dominant you've been in the game. I mean, ERA, you're first since May 11th of 2024. Strikeout percentage, you're fourth. I mean, did you expect? I know you expect success, but did you expect to dominate at this quick?
Yeah, I don't know. I when I got called up, or when I was anticipating getting called up, it was really just, I want to go up and pitch as well as I can.
Yeah.
I think success is kind of relative. Obviously, the stats, say one thing.
You put the work in, though.
Yeah. At the end of the day, that's all you can do, and then that stuff will take care of itself as it should. So that's pretty much how I've looked at it and how I'll continue to look at it.
I love the fact that you came up overpowering stuff, swing and miss. Guys hadn't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Now, as you've got around the league, guys are seemingly got a better plan. But you're still, the changeup starting to come into big play last night. I love the fact that it's give and take. Do you feel like guys this year have a little bit different plan, making more contact, certainly, right?
Yeah, for sure. Makes it fun.
Right.
Makes it, if it were easy, everybody would do it, right? So, it makes it really fun. Learning these things. Obviously got a new catcher this year that we're working together on it, and it's making it a lot of fun to where we can learn together and kind of figure it out together.
All right, the game moves at your pace. That's the first thing I want to bring up. You could tell in that USA video, but Peavy did a breakdown a couple weeks ago. I mean, my man Pepio's not even off the mound, and you are coming charging like a bull. Has that always been the case?
Yeah, it started when I was in college, just to loosen my body up, basically.
Really?
Still a little bit of the case, but kind of just how it is.
Well, to your teammates, let's go.
Yeah.
It sets the stand. I see you standing over there when there's 2 outs in the inning. And that, I would do this on my start day. You are responsible for the other 8 guys' energy and how they play. When they see this, that was what I took out of it. Let's go. It's my day. I'm on the mound. I love it.
Yeah,
all right.
Set the pace.
Let's get into your mechanics a little bit, because Peavy thinks they're interesting, a little bit short stridey. I'm gonna let you guys cook on this. What are you thinking right here? When did you come up with this? Have you always had that short arm? And then you've kind of dropped a little bit. Is that by design?
It's kind of just how it happened. It's a little bit of like a early in the season thing, just because my body changes throughout the season, and I don't know the degree to which I've dropped.
Yeah. Back that up.
Just talk us through here. I think the load here is tremendous. Obviously, the power, we see you getting ready before it starts, and you getting your core and stuff locked.
Pause that.
The thought process, what is, like last night, you trying to find command early on. In your mechanics, what's the thought process that gets you locked in or back? What's a few ticks?
Yeah, I mean, yesterday specifically, my hips were moving fast. My lower body was loose, just how I woke up that day. So that's kind of one of those things that you have to figure out as you get going a little bit.
Yeah.
Felt it a little bit in the bullpen pregame, and then I went out there and felt it even more when I was on the mound. So I was like, all right, let's get through this first inning. And then we went down in the tunnel and made a couple adjustments.
What is that adjustment? If you're talking about your lower half, what did you guys go down and work on?
Just tightened up my hips a little bit.
Okay.
So, I mean, didn't fix everything. It's kind of one of those days where, you have what you have and you got to compete with it.
Well, I think last night, that start shows you didn't have your A stuff. You go out against an incredible team in their ballpark and give up 1 run. That's what makes those starts. I want to go back to your stride length. I think most people would think, you being 6'6", 260, this stride would be a lot longer. Are you cognizant of getting your foot down early? Is that something that you think of, or distance?
What do you think? Can we get you up on the bump?
Yeah, I'm not thinking. I'll say that. I'm not.
No, of course not during the game. But I'm saying when you're like, so you never think about stride length at all.
No, it's a thing for me really where I started pitching when I was, I don't know, 5 years old, 6 years old, whatever, just playing catch. My dad's sitting on the bucket and I'm throwing to him. And the whole thing with that, my dad never coached me on pitching. It was just like, let your body, without him saying this. It was let your body organize itself. He said it because he didn't want to screw me up or anything like that. But that's really how we have this. Like my body has just learned to organize itself, and you hear guys talking about extension and all that. I'm not an extension guy.
So you're not diving into the analytics at all, biomechanics? You in on that?
Yeah, I am. It's just like, this is how I move, and this is, we're going to figure it out. So there are guys who have elite stuff in part because they have elite extension. I'm not that guy, probably because of the stride length thing. It's how I move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I'm telling you, those stride lengths for me was so critical. If it got too long, I was going to be late.
Yeah.
And you have a little bit of movement there. I think that your shorter stride length allows everything to happen out front for you and plays critical. Walk me through this. You had, at some point in time, you had a huge come on from Air Force to LSU. Where did you get in the lab? Where did the velocity and the huge jump come from? Was it working out legs? Combination of all.
Yeah, we just saw some videos of me pitching when I was at Air Force. It's a little different build than I am now. So it was funny because when I left Air Force and when I got to LSU, Air Force, it's just baseball is the third thing. It's school, it's military, and then it's athletics. So I'm getting 8 hours of sleep a night. I'm not eating as much as I can or how I should, just purely because of time. And I get to LSU, I start sleeping 9 hours a night. I'm, eating a lot more food, the right food, all that, and then pretty much immediately, without making any mechanical adjustments, saw a pretty good tick in velocity. And then we got into the mechanics. Got in the lab.
Your hand swallows the baseball.
Ron Darling talked about it all night last night.
Yeah, I don't know.
The low arm, I want to get into how you hold the baseball before we get out of here, but the arm angle, I showed this year on our metrics, and I didn't see this with my next eye, but have you always been kind of where you are now?
Yeah, so it's lowered.
Take a look at this.
If you watch some...
But look at your velocity in comparison to the other guys that are dropped down. Now, obviously, Sale can run it up there. There's a couple guys in there, but...
I don't think people think of you as coming from this low of a slot.
3/4.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that happened when I did get to LSU, because before that I was a primary catcher. I got recruited as a catcher, and the thing as a catcher is to get through the ball, kind of stay behind it, and keep it as straight as possible to second base. So once I got to LSU, my natural arm slot is a little bit lower, and without really, I can't remember working on it ever, but it just naturally lowered. Our pitching coach knew that this is where my arm slot should be. And maybe this is just a continuation of it. I haven't thought about it a ton, to be honest.
I love that too. You go out and compete, be an athlete. I've had multiple coaches. We'll dive into the analytics and the metrics, but at the end of the day, go out there and fight and compete.
Yeah, I think we were showing here that you were a touch lower this year, and then what I was seeing from our guys was the changeup, the splinker, slider, all coming out of the same slot.
Let it run.
Let
Let it run. So yesterday, take me through the mindset yesterday, because just in the trust tree, right? It felt like you hung a couple sliders to some good hitters, but then when you needed to, it was like right there, like Brandon Nimmo. Now let's get out of there. Let's go change up. See you later.
Yeah, if you don't have one pitch, you got to use the other ones.
Okay, so you're going change up there. So what's the difference between the change up and the splinker?
Yeah, I mean, the splinker, I throw it as a fastball.
Really?
It's not a true splitter. It's not a true sinker. So I throw it as a fastball. Think fastball, and it just comes out of my hand a little bit different. The changeup's a true changeup. I've been throwing this since I started pitching. When I was 10 years old, and it's the first pitch you learn, right? Yeah, you learn it before you learn the curveball, before you learn the slider, and I guess I've just developed the feel for it over the years.
Show me
There's so many weapons to go to. Like there's nights, like literally, as an old school guy, I'm like, I want to run out to the mound and be like, will you just bully your heater right by people? Like, go get them.
Yeah.
Right? You're just like, have all this power stuff, and it's like, there's 7 pitches. That's tough to like lock in on that.
Yeah, and night like yesterday, like it would be nice to bully heaters, but if we're missing, like we saw that Nimmo
Yeah.
pitch, like you kind of have to go to the other ones.
I thought, well, me and him talked about that. And he goes, I thought he would have thrown more fastballs, but I thought it was a lot because we know when you get out there how your fastball's playing that night.
Do it, Dev. Go back.
Lindor took some good swings. His first swings were decent on it. He started using it. I want to go back to the pitch grips. I'm pitching in this East-West All-Star game at Rickwood Field in a month, and I need some help. Walk me through.
Watch this nasty pitch. 98 away. Now let's drop the little splinker on him. Oh my. I mean, people. I used to call home. My dad would be like, "Why are you swinging at that? That ball's in the dirt. It's a 94 mile. It looks like a 98 mile an hour heater, and then all of a sudden the bottom drops out of this thing. So this is like you're treating it like a split."
Yeah, I probably pitch with it like a split. It's it's a true, or it's not a true split, and it's not a true sinker. You see a lot of guys throw and I throw my sinker now with my fingers together, like that, and a lot of I can count on one hand the guys that split their sinker, and that's what I was trying to do the whole time I was at LSU. I'm trying to learn the second fastball, and I'm basically banging my head against a wall trying to learn a sinker with this grip, trying to throw it off my middle finger here, which is how you throw a sinker. And then one day, but I think it was between the draft and when I signed in Pittsburgh, I'm playing catch with it, and I felt one come off my index finger, and the bottom just dropped out and kind of it bit, and I had never felt that before, and I was like, all right, let's do that again.
Game on.
Here we are.
So you think when I threw a split, and I said this not too long ago, that was my thought process. To throw this, I had to make sure this index finger, obviously it's going to play off this, but this index finger had to go. I had to make sure that I pointed that thing at the catcher, throw it, and feel it off that.
Yeah, it happens the right way because I rip it like a fastball, and I come through it, with confidence. And
Pete was a tough AB all night last night.
he's a good hitter.
Yeah, he's feeling it. You can see he's seeing the ball. He's got complete command of the strike zone. He had swung at a couple of those sinkers in off. Pause that real quick, because I was wondering in my head, 3-0, you were willing to walk him in that spot, right?
Yeah, I'd rather not, but
Because 3-0, you're throwing, what was that, splinker?
that was a splinker. Yeah, and to be honest, like yesterday specifically, that was what I had.
Yeah.
3-0. So threw it there, and I was kind of feeling that he was going to go.
I thought that was I thought this was the sequence.
He wasn't taking. He wanted to be the hero.
I thought this was the sequence of the night right here because Pete took a good swing in his first at bat off the slider. You knew you had to go to something there. You went to the slider, he fouled it off, and you guys both realized, no, let's go to the changeup. He hadn't seen that yet, and that got you a pivotal strikeout. Again, last night, I don't think that many people understand. You go out there a handful of times. This year, how many starts we got? 7, 8
around
right
there,
now? What, 1 or 2 of them you went out there and haven't thought and probably just bullied your way to doing what you do. The rest of them, you go out there and you work through them like last night, right?
Yeah, it's tough, but it's the game.
Sometimes, honestly, and I have to pinch myself doing this job, I couldn't be more honored and humbled that you decided to do this. I think it's landscape changing for the event, especially for the United States. And it's going to change the way the WBC is played with USA across the chest. Couldn't be more fired up. And I know you got a full season, but every night I'm sitting there just jotting stuff down. So we will protect you to my dying day. We got that. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, no, appreciate it.
Well, beyond that, too, I appreciate the way you've went about it. You've come on the scene with so much hoopla around it, and you've handled it all with grace and class, and a role model for our young ones. The game's in good hands, Paul.